Good morning, and it's good to be here with meditation. So I'm going to start the meditation, of course, with a prayer. But this prayer is going to be sung, and it's going to be sung by Rihanna Gibbons, and it's called, let me get this, hold on. My phone is telling me that there's a calendar announcement. Messing with my organization. So in this moment, just settle in, relax, and be here now. And receive this prayer in the form of a song.
When your path is full of worry, He will see you through. When you feel
Thank you for joining me in Sacred Sangha today.
we give some love for our fabulous music team? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I see we've got more people coming on in. Come on down. I'm Rev DeeAnn Morency. I'm the senior minister here at Unity in Marin. I still get such a kick out of saying that. I don't think that's ever going to quite get old, just so you guys know. Momo just said we get a kick out of hearing it too. So welcome everyone, welcome. It is so wonderful to see faces that I do know and new faces that are perhaps new to me, even though I notice they might not be new to other people here in the community. It's just wonderful to be on this edge of renewal. Can everybody feel that? There's just this energy that's going on. It's not just here at Unity in Marin, it's everywhere. There's this sense of possibility, the sense of reopening, reactivating in some way. And I'm just thrilled to be here with all of you as we get to come together to continue to build that momentum here within this beautiful, beautiful spiritual community. So if you are new to Unity in Marin, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are a community that is unapologetically inclusive. We have a t-shirt from Unity that says that, and I was wearing that yesterday, and my 7-year-old godchild tried to say unapologetically inclusive, and it was a little much for her. So what it means in like plain language is that wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you've experienced, wherever you are on your journey, whatever is alive for you, whatever that looks like, that this is a place, a space for you. That this is a place for you to be seen and heard and respected and acknowledged. And we do that to the best of our ability, and no one and nothing is perfect. But when we come together in spiritual community, the agreement is that we get to say, hey, I didn't feel included. And we as a community get to say, oh, growing edge, time for us to expand and be a larger container. And so that is the very root of unity, understanding that each of us is divine and that each of us has something that we bring and we offer that is valuable and important. And that as we make space for that together, all it does is mean that we get to grow. And we are so rooted in that love and in that willingness to see the truth of who you are, not the story. We get so attached to our stories, don't we? Not the story. We are here together, and it's those of us who are here, and it's those of us who are on the live stream, those lucky few, or lucky many, actually. We have a lot of people watching us on live stream, and they're kicking back in their pajamas with their coffee right now. But we will get coffee and yummy foods and hospitality after, so it balances out, right? So if you are vaccinated, we follow county mandates. Anyone who's up here on platform has been tested and tested negative, so that's why we are unmasked. If you are vaccinated, it is your choice. And if you are unvaccinated, we do ask that you wear a mask. That's to ensure that everyone can be safe and feel safe here in this beautiful community. And we're kicking off our book study this week, so it's going to be 7 weeks where we're focusing on Adam Grant's Think Again. And Carolyn Gauthier, who is on her travels in France right now, writes these lovely, lovely songs for whatever it is that we are studying or in the midst of together. And so she wrote a song called Think Again. And so we're going to start our service off with that. I'm going to invite our guest musical inspiration for today, Momo Cortez, if we can get some love for Momo. And if you want to stand up and sing along.
Okay, now I got some gas. I know you all remember this song from last week, right? Okay, that's what I thought. Think again. Are your thoughts all true? Think again. Are you really you? Think again. Open up your mind. Think again. Leave the past behind. When we were children, we thought like children and became who we learned we should be. Now it's clear what we hold dear. It's not real, just what we want to see. Think again, are your thoughts all true? Think again, are they really you? Think again, open up your mind. Think again, leave the past behind. We can be humble, admit we're wrong, embrace the pain that comes with doubt. If we don't hide, but look inside, we can learn how just to work things out. Think again, are your thoughts all true? Think again, are they really you? Think again, open up your mind. Think again, leave the past behind. Easier said than done, right?
We're going to spend the next 7 weeks on this, right? This is really a lifetime we're spending on this, yes? So we have beautiful flowers today, which were arranged by Sarah Gaspari, and they were sponsored by Teresa Reddy in celebration of the life of her mother, and a happy birthday to her. If you would like to be a flower sponsor, you can do that outside in the courtyard after service. We always have just incredible floral arrangements that are put together by our flower team. They really do just such beautiful, beautiful work. So if you are new here and you'd like to be looped into what we're doing and receive some text messages, I don't bombard you, I promise. You can text WELCOME to 415-991-7111, and that will put you into the loop. If you are already part of it, if you text loop, it just means that we know that you're here. It is a way for you to connect with me if you like. I do respond to those texts that people send to me, so it's really just a great way. It's a great way to stay immediately in touch with what's happening here at Unity in Marin. And so now we're going to invite Momo to come on back up here, and she's going to start us off with a song which you are probably all familiar with, and so of course you are welcome to join her, and that is going to lead us directly into our opening prayer.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join me and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join me and the world will live as one.
So let's just take that into our heart space, shall we? I'm going to invite the prayer chaplains to rise. The prayer box is coming forward. Lucille is bringing that forward. Invite the emeriti to join them if they like, or anyone who holds the high watch. Just feel free to encircle this whole community in love. Come right here, Alice, Lucille, so that it's a circle. Right there. That's good. Turn right there. Thank you. Let's take a breath together, shall we? And just allowing this beautiful message to continue to reverberate through our hearts as we open the mind, open the heart, open our ability to be present. We just open into the right here and the right now. We allow the breath to breathe us, knowing that life is living us right now. How good it is to recognize that life, that love, that interconnectedness that is all there is, that we are living as one. That is the truth of what is happening. And so into this space, just being willing to place any part of ourselves that feels separate and alone, into this space, placing whatever we might be carrying on our heart, we place in the sacred container of love the memory, the trauma of 9/11. We place into this container the grief and the loss of so many people over the eons of humanity. We just place all of it because this container of love is large enough and big enough and wide enough and deep enough to hold it all. So whatever is personally activated for you in this moment, release it into love. And allow truth to reveal itself right here in this moment. The abundance that is palpable and present, the energy and vitality that is available and present, the capacity to be compassion. that evolutionary impulse to always be more and never less. In this moment, we lift that high. And as we lift that high, we are holding the high watch and bringing with us all who are in need of that higher vibration of consciousness, ourselves included. We come together in community to create that space, that place where we may grow and evolve, where we may show up more fully and more powerfully as love. Willing to think again, willing to reimagine, willing to truly be the hands, the feet, the voice, the arms, the living God in time and in space that is creating a world that works for everyone. Feel the surety of that. Feel the power as we say yes to our spiritual authority. How grateful I am to be still and know in this moment the truth, my truth, your truth, our truth, for there is only one truth. Love is, peace is, possibility is. And in this moment, the invitation is to just say yes. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. Peace and blessings, everyone.
Thank you, Reverend DeeAnn. Good morning, Unity in Marin. Yes, yes. You know, yes means you engage spirit when you say yes. Thank you for that opening prayer. And Momo, thank you for that beautiful song. It reminded me, it took me back 21 years at a candlelight vigil, and we all sang that together. Well, those of you that are in need of prayer support, and I know I was sitting there freezing, and between the prayer and the prayer chaplains surrounding us, my hands started to get pink. A couple of fingers are still blue, but so powerful. But if you need prayer support, we do have our prayer chaplains nearby. You can also visit our website or call the office. Your prayers will be held for 60 days. All right. So we have our mission statement, and I invite you to say it together. We are a spiritual community committed to authenticity and the expression of love and support for each other in living an awakened and enlightened life. And our core commitments: as a spiritual community, we connect with spirit, inspiring each other, the community, and the world. We grow in consciousness through education, healing, and prayer. We serve spirit, community, and the world with love, joy, and a sense of adventure. Yes. All right. I'd like to invite Cindy to come up for our inspirational reading.
to my size. The loving me salutes the loving you unity. Good morning. It's now the time for our inspirational reading, a time to let these words become part of your morning reflection, meditation, or prayer. I invite you all together in this moment to take a deep breath. And to pause, to close your eyes if you wish. I invite you to let these words become your words. The affirmation for today is, I am free to recreate myself. And I would like to share the affirmation with you in Spanish. Tengo la libertad para recrearme. In the same way, society and culture changes over time by embracing new ideas and understandings. I am free to also update my understanding of myself. I am free to make different choices and recreate myself. With an open heart and mind anchored in prayer and meditation, I welcome the opportunity to release any worn out ways of being and acting in the world. I choose to reimagine, to see people and situations anew. With self-compassion, I willingly expand beyond my habitual way of thinking. I embrace that there is always something more to notice, that there is always more to discover. I affirm that fresh choices are possible and that I am free to recreate myself. And now, let's all together take this into a time of silence. Once again, the affirmation for today is, I am free to recreate myself. Please note this with me. I am free to recreate myself. And we're going to do it in Spanish. I'm going to say it first, and then you can repeat it after me. Okay? Tengo la libertad para recrearme. Yes. Thank you.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Gonna make a change for once in my life. I'm gonna feel real good, make a difference. I'm gonna make it right. Bingo. As you can see, I'm a little technically challenged at times. Let's take it from the top. Gonna make a change for once in my life. Gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right. As I turned up the collar on my favorite winter coat, the wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street without enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs? A summer's disregard, a broken prototype, and one man's soul. They follow each other to the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I'm talking to you. I'm talking to that man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his life. And that message can't get any clearer. If you want to take the world a better place, take a look at yourself. Make that change. I'm talking to that woman in the mirror. I'm asking her to make a change. And this message can't get any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. I'm talking to that person in the mirror. I'm asking them to make that change. And this message can't get any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. I'm talking to that man in the mirror. I'm asking him to make a change. This message can't get any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself. 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 Take a look at yourself and make that change.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason Myers. Where'd he go? Oh, well.
I love the moonwalk at the beginning, right? Yeah, absolutely.
I tried my best to do the moonwalk, and it's like, I'm not even going to practice this. It's going to happen the way it's going to happen. I'm just hoping it looked like I didn't forget to take my medication this morning. So.
Now that is what we should all aspire to. that we are making choices throughout our day that make people wonder, did she take her medication this morning? That is definitely rethinking, right? So we are kicking off our book study, and we are looking at Adam Grant's Think Again. And if you're interested, they are starting this week, so there will be signups in the courtyard. We have online classes, we have online and we have in-person groups that are meeting. You can buy the book in the bookstore, and there are study guides available in the bookstore and also at the sign-up table. What Adam Grant is inviting us into is an opportunity to really look at this idea about how fixed we become in our own understanding about ourselves and about the world. And what he's done in this book is he's pulled together just a tremendous amount of information, some of it new, some of it not so new, but he's coalesced and synthesized it together in one place to make an argument for how we're being invited to reinvent ourselves. And this is so in alignment with unity. In unity, what we are continually saying yes to is the revelation of our divinity, the revelation of our understanding of our divine self. And part of how we're invited to do that by continually examining what are the old beliefs or the old thoughts or the old understandings that are holding us back from being able to show up in a completely different way. And the different way that I speak to is the way that is more fulfilled, the way that is more joyous, the way that is more in service to the world. And yes, it can make us a little uncomfortable because it's going to invite us all continually to examine the things that we take for granted, to look at the places where we're comfortable, and to say, what else is there? What more is calling me? And Adam Grant's point, I'm just going to call him Adam from here on out. You guys will roll with that, right? Adam's point is that we need to question our beliefs more readily than ever before. This is not an easy task. As we sit with our beliefs, they tend to become more extreme and more entrenched. And all we have to do is take a look at our world right now. All we have to do is take a look at our political scene right now. All we have to do is take a look at the socioeconomic situation that is operating in this country right now. All we need to do is take a look at the racial injustice that is happening in this country on a daily basis to understand that that entrenched understanding, the extreme understandings right now are really running roughshod in our world. Now, what we believe in unity is that we have the capacity right here by doing the work ourselves, by doing the work within ourselves, within this community, and out in the world. There's no separation. There's only one thing happening, that we can actually make a change, that as we anchor an understanding in consciousness, that as we anchor that and live it, not just talk about it, not just think about it, but actually live it. As we do that, we up-level the entire planet. And it's not like, and people sometimes talk about it ripples outward. That's not how it works in the realm of the absolute. It is instantaneous. When we make a shift in consciousness, there is a shift in consciousness everywhere simultaneously. So that's what I'm inviting all of us, myself included, into over the next 7 weeks, to really be willing to be uncomfortable with some of the assumptions, with some of the things that we assume and believe about ourselves and about the world. Because this is individual and it is collective. It's not just about you. It's never just about you. It's never just about out there. It's never just about what's happening in the world. They are one and the same. If it's in the world, guess what? It's in you. And if it's in you, guess what? It's in the world. There is no separation. So just take a breath with me, because that can be a little scary sometimes, because what we see out there in the world, sometimes it's just horrifying. And that's actually in us in some way, right? We're not separate from it. But the power that we then have is that through our own work, we can transform the horribleness that we sometimes see out there in the world. In Unity, we would say that what we're witnessing that is not in alignment with what we know and believe, the divine nature of all that we are, and that love truly is everywhere present, that when we're not seeing that, it's because it's a misuse of our divine power. It's a misuse of our creative capacity. And we, as a community, get to say, we stand in an aligned understanding of who we are and what the world is. And that is how we change the world and make it a world for the better. So we're reading the prologue in chapter 1 this week. Read it before you go to your study groups. When are you reading it? Right? Before your study groups, you want to read the prologue in chapter 1. So in the prologue, he introduces us to an event that happened in 1949, which is the Man Gulch Fire, which is still one of the worst fire losses of firefighters. I'm going to take my earring off because it's clinking against my microphone. Now you won't hear that constant little ting, 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 or as much of it. And you'll read about it in the prologue, but I just want to give you a brief synopsis of that. It was, I think there was 27, there was a large number of firefighters that were dropped into the Man Gulch Fire. They descended down into the gulch, and you can see a picture here of how steep the gulch is. And as they descended down, they had all their tools with them, all their firefighting tools, their axes and all of those things, and they were going to try to build a fire break. And by the time they got to the bottom, they realized that the fire had jumped the gulch, raging out of control, and that they weren't going to be able to stop it. So they headed back uphill. Now, fire goes faster uphill than it does on a level plane. So they're trying to outrun the fire as the fire is coming up the hill behind them. They get within 200 yards of the top, which will be safety because the fire will immediately slow down once they get to the plateau. And the person who was leading the entire project, the captain of it, all of a sudden drops his equipment, tells everybody to drop their equipment. He starts burning the grass around him in a circle. Now, the guys who he are with are looking at him and thinking, are you nuts? You're starting another fire. What are you doing? And they thought, the ones who survived, thought that he was trying to commit suicide. That's literally what they thought in that moment. None of them stick with him. All of them take off up the hill, shedding their equipment now as they try to make those final 200 yards. I think only 3 of them made it to the top. The guy who burned all the grass around him, guess what? He came through it just fine. He invented, or he was spinally driven to actually create the first fire circle, which is now a technique that is used by firefighters to actually burn what's around them so the fire doesn't have any fuel. They get close to the ground and they breathe the oxygen that is at the very, very closest to the ground until the fire passes over them. He was able to think again. The people who weren't able to comprehend that there was another choice were not able to think again. And take a look at the kind of equipment that firefighters carry into these fires. It can weigh up to 60 pounds. There were multiple opportunities for this crew to think again. They ran almost 400 yards uphill with a fire chasing them with 50 pounds of equipment on their back. And it wasn't until they almost got to the top that they actually were willing to let go of the equipment. And this is something that firefighters are still trying to learn. There have been other fires where their studies have shown that if the team had actually dropped their equipment, they would have moved 25% faster, and their success rate of actually escaping the fire would have been much, much higher. So What Adam Grant says here is a hallmark of wisdom is knowing when it's time to abandon some of your most treasured tools and some of the most cherished parts of your identity. Because for firefighters, their axe and their tools, like that's part of their identity. That's what they do. They don't back away from a fire. They have the skills and the tools to be able to navigate it. And to actually let go of their tools means that they feel as if they're letting go of part of their identity. And they can't do it. So my question to you is, what are the tools that you're clinging to? What are you holding on to because you think it's part of your identity, because you think it is so important for how you navigate the world, that without that, you would not be successful, or you would not be fulfilled, or you would not be fill in the blank? And yet, are they actually holding you back from being able to achieve something else? And the tools that all of us tend to cling to are our assumptions, our instincts, and our habits. We instinctively think this is the thing that I'm supposed to do. And what Adam Grant is saying is, what happens if you think again? What happens if you drop down on the ground and actually burn the grass around you so that the fire has nothing to consume you with? What if you actually drop your tools at the bottom of the gulch and you can run 25% faster? A large majority of that team would have actually made it to the top. So where are you holding on to things that are actually holding you back, that you think are so necessary for you to be able to function in the world, and yet they're closing you off to possibility? So when we're looking at the world, and we've talked about this during the whole, in August, I did a whole series on the quantum living process and navigating our shadow and what that means and integrating our shadow self. And we spent a lot of time talking about how all perception is misperception, that we cannot get ourself out of the frame, that no matter what it is that we're experiencing, we're filtering it through our own experience, through our own understanding, through our past, our history. And so what psychologists call this, right, they break this down into two forms of bias: confirmation bias and desirability bias. And confirmation bias is seeing what we expect to see. And we've talked about that too, that what you're looking for, guess what? You're going to find it, right? Whatever it is you're looking for. If you're looking for the weakness, if you're looking for the flaw, if you're looking for the problem, we sometimes call that problem consciousness. If you're looking for the problem, well, guess what? You are absolutely going to find a problem. Guaranteed. And desirability bias is where we're seeing what we want to see. And this, in Unity, what I call this is magical thinking, where we are ignoring what is actually happening in the world. We are not paying attention to what is because it doesn't line up with what we want to see. And spiritual communities run into this desirability bias a lot, because what we want to see is love and joy and peace and harmony. But if we are not willing to also be aware that in time and in space, those things are sometimes very hard to see, we are missing a huge part of how we are called to transform those spaces in the world. If we are pretending that they're not there, or they're not my problem, or it doesn't actually directly concern me, then we're actually cutting ourselves off from possibility, because there is nothing outside of us. So that homeless person, that person who is struggling to pay their rent, that whatever, that person who is in need of medication and can't get it, they're all somehow us. So if we're pretending that that doesn't exist and that doesn't happen, we're actually cutting ourselves off from being able to show up more fully, more powerfully, more present to what is actually happening. And then Adam Grant also mentions that one of his favorite biases is the I'm not biased bias. Right? Oh no, I see this very, very clearly. I have a capacity that most people don't have to be able to move through the world and to just see the facts, nothing but the facts. I am never caught up in my opinion, ever. Yeah. So these are the three biases that we want to be paying attention to. Where are you looking only for what you expect to see? Where are you looking for only what you want to see? And where are you thinking that you actually don't have a bias? So in the seeing what we want to see, the story in these two chapters that we're reading is the Ponzi scheme, the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme, and how people got sucked into that was because they were seeing what they wanted to see. That was what drew them in to the entire process, is they were seeing what they wanted to see. So, how we choose to navigate the world. So, we get sort of inundated by the world. Anybody in here not inundated by the world at times? I know I am, right? And we can slip into different modes of being when we feel as if the world is coming at us. And so the first one is what is called preacher mode. And this is when our sacred beliefs are in jeopardy and we deliver sermons. I know nothing about this. To protect and promote our ideals, right? And the whole point is to convert other people to your ideal. Can we see how the preacher mode is so alive right now in the abortion discussion, right? In so many places where there's tension in our culture, where there's polarization, can we see how this idea of preaching that I need to convert you to what I believe? Now, I'm going to say right up front here, I don't need to convert you to what I believe. I want you to explore and decide for yourself what it is that actually works for you. That's what I care about, right? That is what I care about. The next mode that we all also may be familiar with is the prosecutor mode. And this is when we recognize the flaws in other people's reasoning. How many people have done this at a dinner table? And we marshal all our arguments so that we're going to prove them wrong and we're going to win the case, right? It's this idea of somehow winning. And so it's about condemning other people because they're wrong, because there's a flaw in their logic or in their reasoning. And because of that, then we get to win. He has a whole section in there, a later part in his book, where he talks about logic bullies. People who use logic as a way to bully people, right? And he was accused of being a logic bully. And he realized he was, that he was using logic to try to force somebody into a different way of understanding. And then the last one, which we are all very familiar with as well right now, is the politician mode. And this is when we're seeking to win over an audience. This is when we campaign and lobby for approval, right? It's all about trying to win approval. Now, this isn't just in the political arena. You do this with your friends too. You try to win them over. You try to get their approval. You want them to be on your side. And what is it that you say or you do when you want all that approval? That's being in politician mode. So the preacher is, I am right. The prosecutor is, you are wrong. And the politician is, I need approval. I want approval. That's what I need. All the people pleasers out there, how often do you slip into politician mode? Right? So what Adam Grant is inviting us into is the scientific mode, what he calls the scientific mode. And what it means to be engaged in the scientific mode is that we are actively open-minded, that we are searching for why we might be wrong. I'm going to come back to that one again, right? But we are searching. It's an active process of how could I be wrong here? And we're testing hypotheses over and over and over again so that we can discover new information. We can discover new knowledge. We can discover something that we hadn't seen before. And then the last piece of scientific mode is that we then revise our views as we learn. Now, this, believe it or not, for those of you who are like religion and spirit and science, how does that work? New thought arose out of the tension between the scientific discoveries that were roiling through the world in the 1800s, which were just demolishing the traditional understanding of Scripture, of God, as science was revealing that there were dinosaurs before there were humans, as science was revealing that the planet was older than 6,000 years old, as science was revealing that we actually don't, everything doesn't revolve around us in the universe, right? We're actually revolving around the sun, and there's actually a whole lot more out there than anything we could truly begin to understand the vastness of this galaxy, just our galaxy, let alone all the other galaxies. As that tension was just moving through, new thought was born. New thought was born out of the idea that spirituality and science could be hand in hand, that one did not exclude the other, that you could actually believe in scientific principles and at the same time believe in spiritual principles, that they were not actually opposing each other, that you could actually bring them together. Now, Ernest Holmes actually called what is now Centers for Spiritual Living, used to be called science of mind, religious science, because what he used to say all the time is, don't believe me, don't believe what I tell you, experiment, try it out. Take these ideas and play with them. See what happens so that you can build up your own experience. So science and spirituality within unity absolutely go hand in hand. And we believe in unity about the evolving understanding of who we actually are. That's like built into who we are. So one of the reasons why we use a non-literal understanding of Scripture, why we use a metaphorical understanding of Scripture, is because there's a lot of things in Scripture that directly counter science. And so rather than saying, well, we can't have, it's either one or the other, we thought again, new thought. It's called new thought for a reason. There was a new thought about how we could integrate the Scripture and the wisdom that's there, along with science and the wisdom that is there. So, while a scientist, I'm going to go back one slide, while a scientist can revise their views as they learn something, and that's part of the accepted understanding of what we're doing, for a preacher, it is seen as a sign of moral weakness, to shift, to grow, to evolve. For the prosecutor, it's admitting defeat. For the politician, it's about being an opportunist or being flip-floppy, right? So we get stuck in these modes, and they don't allow us to grow. Because who wants to grow if it means that it's a sign of moral weakness? Who wants to grow if it means that we're defeated? You can understand why there's resistance to new ideas, why there's resistance to thinking again. So, to sort of encapsulate it, what the scientific mode is favoring is humility over pride. And I talked about this when I first introduced this book in July. I talked about how pride, and I talked about this during the shadow work. Carl Jung says that pride is the biggest obstacle to our own understanding of our divinity. Pride is what gets in the way. And by that we mean our ego getting attached to who we are and how we show up in the world, and thinking it has to look a specific way stops us from being able to step into something new. So the scientific mode invites humility. I don't know. I don't know. Wow, I really just don't know. Over, oh, no, that I know exactly what this is. It is about doubt over certainty. Now, we're going to come back to this one because this is tricky when we're in a spiritual community, right? It's about that point that he makes that we're always looking for how we might be wrong. Curiosity over closure. So rather than thinking, oh no, I need to tie this all up in a neat little bow, and I know exactly what happened, and I know what they did, and I know why they did it, and I know that, right? All of that. Instead of that, we welcome curiosity. Why? Why is that happening? Why do I feel this way? What's my role in creating this polarity with this other person? What's my part in this that I can shift without having to tell them how to shift? Everybody gets to walk their own journey, but what's my role in this? How can I grow in a different way? Curiosity opens doors for us. And all of that is ultimately leading us to discovery rather than validation. All too often, what we are doing is looking for validation of what we already believe. We are pulling together the evidence that we see, and we've talked about how our brain doesn't process everything that's around us. It processes a very, 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 very narrow part of what is available to us in any moment. And so when we're only focused on what it is that we're trying to validate, we are closing the loop. Anybody in here ever keep repeating and feeling like you're going around and around, coming up against the same things over and over and over again? Anybody in here experience that? I have. Okay, that is part of, there's a mindset that is looking for the ways that are going to validate something that you believe about yourself or about the world, that you are being invited to heal, that you are being invited to shift into something new. So how I would tie this in would be to call this witness consciousness. So when we talk about witness consciousness or observer consciousness, what we're talking about is how, from the spiritual perspective, we are able to be less attached to what is happening or not happening. From the witness consciousness, we're not attached to an outcome. We are willing to be in process. And that is part of that scientific mode. Can you feel how there's an alignment with witness consciousness? A scientist is looking as dispassionately as they can, and let's be clear, we can never get ourselves out of the frame, but they're looking as dispassionately as they can as what's happening. And if it doesn't work, Thomas Edison very famously said, it took him like 10,000 tries before he got the electric light bulb working, and somebody said you had 9,999 failures, and he said, no, I had 9,000. It took what it took for me to get to the success. Like, he didn't think of those as failures. He saw them as part of the process that was eliminating things and bringing in new ideas and continually evolving and moving the needle. What if we actually lived our life that way? What if we actually lived our life understanding that it's process, that it's not some predetermined outcome, that if we don't get to, or if we do get to, somehow we're a bad person or we're a good person? What if it's actually just all about process, and there is that which we are at the heart of who we are that is whole already? What if we actually lived from that place? So we had nothing to prove, we have nothing to convince, we have nothing to argue, we don't have to make anybody wrong. There is a place and a space on this planet for every level of consciousness. Isn't that awesome? Right? Isn't that amazing? That wherever we are in consciousness, there's a place for us. I find that to be very calming personally. That wherever we are, there's a place where we can resonate. So I want to just go back briefly to this doubt over certainty piece. And this ties back because what we talk about in spiritual teachings is faith. right? Faith, where we move past doubt, where we actually are in the knowing of who we are. So how do we marry that with this idea of being in a scientific mode where we're actually supposedly being aware of where we might not know something? And so I want to bring us back to this idea that this is all a scientific experiment. What if your life is a scientific experiment? What if the principles, the spiritual principles that we believe in, that we activate, what if those were all an opportunity for hypothesis and testing? It kind of sounds like fun, doesn't it? I have a hypothesis that love is all there is. What if I go out and I actually test that hypothesis? What's going to start to happen? What am I going to start to see? What am I going to start to realize about myself? I know in my personal journey and unfolding, like there's, what is that scripture quote? When I was a child, I thought as a child, and right? Like we are always evolving and growing. So the way we thought 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, yesterday, where is the space where you're saying yes to being able to grow into something more? Excuse me. James, can you pass me my water? So doubt, the way I would invite us to hold this idea of doubt is from this witness consciousness. It's not from our human understanding that we need to doubt what we think we believe, but from the witness consciousness that actually knows what it knows, but that we're being invited to look at how we live into our principles and have some doubt about how fully we are doing that. Does that make sense to everyone? We're not doubting our principles, but we are being open to the idea that there is a greater expression for how those principles live through me, how I live into them, how I can be the living expression of that love. Ernest Holmes said, "Begin where you are. It would be unscientific to begin anywhere else." Right? So for me, what that means is you get to bring your history with you. You get to bring your past with you. You get to bring everything you've learned, all the challenges you've overcome, all the things that you have discovered in time and in space. You don't ignore them. You don't pretend that they're not important. And yet at the same time, can you also keep yourself open? Open to the fact that Ernest Holmes also said, our past is not our precedent. Just because something happened, just because you have experienced something, even if it has been over and over and over again, remember our closed loop, that does not mean that has to continue from this moment on right now. You can choose differently. And that has to do with being aware of where is that bias coming in? Where am I looking for the proof that this is my life and this is the way it's supposed to be? And yeah, I want to be really clear. This does ask us to be courageous because we're going to start to unravel some of those false beliefs that have been running through our entire life. We're going to say, oh no, we're going to pick at a thread and we're going to be like, wow, look how far that goes. But I just want to affirm that, number one, we're doing this as a community. We're doing this as a community. So you're not alone in this. You're not this isolated wool sweater that if a thread gets pulled or the yarn gets pulled, that somehow you're just going to disappear into nothingness. If things get a little wobbly, there are people around you who are going to hold you. We had the most beautiful World Day of Prayer, and this idea of holding the high watch for each other. This is how we do this kind of work, where we hold space for each other to truly be wherever it is that we are, all in the agreement the spiritual community, agreeing that we are here to reveal more and never less. That we are here to say yes to the evolutionary impulse, which is the very truth of our life. That we are here to grow continually, and that we are never done. Whew. Breathe into that. Because I know some of us have been working this for a long time. Anybody in here agree with me on that? Woo, we've been doing this for a long time. We're not done yet. Yay! Yay! Come on, come with me. Yay! Right? We're actually not done. And that there's such a gift in that. Because if we're not done, think about how much joy you have discovered for yourself as you have matured and grown. No matter where you are, just think about how much joy is in your life. And so if we're not done, then that means that there's even more joy than that waiting for us. There's even more freedom waiting for us. There's even more passion and energy and vitality and all the powers, what we call the 12 powers, are there just burbling forth like, let me out, let me out, let me out. And the only thing blocking all of that is some old understanding you have about yourself and about the world. So we honor the past, deeply honor it. And we also want to place it in the container where something new is absolutely possible in this moment. Not tomorrow. Right now, something new is possible. Because this is what's waiting for us. All the old beliefs is like this horrible, dark, dingy, dirty brick wall. We've caged ourselves with our own beliefs. And if we can just create even the smallest crack in that, the whole structure starts to fall apart. So this is what you're actually unraveling. You're not unraveling the truth of who you are. You're unraveling the false idea of who you think you are. So you have nothing to actually be afraid of. Because all that's waiting for you on the other side is more love, more joy, more passion, more fun, honestly. Anybody in here having more fun than they did when they were younger? I certainly am, right? Woo, I'm having a lot more fun, right? That's what we're inviting ourselves into. Remember, the context for everything that we're doing here in Unity and Marin is to live a more fulfilled, loving, joyful, prosperous life. That's what we're doing, right? That is the goal. So we live in a rapidly changing world where we need to spend as much time rethinking as we do thinking. And this is huge because our world has sped up, like unbelievably, the way our world has sped up, right? Copernicus discovered that we actually are revolving around the sun, and it took almost 800 years for that to filter into the world, for people to actually know that that was something. Nowadays, something comes out on the internet, and whoosh, the entire world knows about it. Overnight, not even overnight, like in a millisecond. So there's this tremendous amount of new information that is coming at us always, new perspectives, new understandings. I spend a lot of time on BIPOC TikTok, because what I love about that is it continually challenges my assumptions about the world, and it keeps opening me up to a new understanding. And I would recommend all of us step into a place where our assumptions, our habits, our thoughts about the stability of what it is that we think the world is are being challenged by a different perspective, by a different generation. It's so vital that we stay in this mix of what's unfolding and not withdraw from it, because it can be a little overwhelming how much information is coming at us. So we might want to be like, oh no, I don't have anything to do with that TikTok thing, or I don't have anything to do, I don't use the internet, or whatever it is that you don't do in order to try to keep the world from interfering with what you actually understand about yourself and the world that you actually live in. And we're going to do that together over the next 7 weeks. We're going to be looking at how we get reactive with the stuff that makes us uncomfortable and how we're being invited to continually think again, over and over and over and over, because we're not in first grade and we don't get to raise our hand and say, I'm done. We don't get to do that. We're never done. Have you ever seen a bunch of first graders? They finish their assignment. They're so excited. I'm done. But do we know, are they done? They're not done. They are nowhere near done. That's us, right? We are that first grader. We are that first grader. So I'm going to invite Momo to come up here in a second, but let's do some affirmations, right? All right. I am willing to release my inner preacher. I am willing to release my inner prosecutor. I am willing to release my inner politician. I am open to the scientific perspective. I am open to witness consciousness. I am willing to think again. And so it is. Amen.
Just checking. There's a new world coming, and it's just around the bend. There's a new world coming, this one's coming to an end. There's a new voice calling, the one we've been dreaming of, and it's growing stronger with each day our love is on. There's a brand new morning, rising sweet and clear and free. There's a new day dawning that belongs to you and me. There's a new world coming, the one we've had visions of, coming in peace, coming in joy, coming in love. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful for my life. I'm so grateful for the air I breathe. And I'm so thankful for unity in Marin. There's a brand new morning, breathing sweet and clear and free. There's a new day dawning that belongs to you and me. Yes, a new world coming, the one we've had visions of, coming in peace, coming in joy, coming in love, coming in love, coming in love, coming in love. Thank you.
And that,
Am I on? Thank you. That beautiful song was made famous by Mama Cass. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jason.
And thank you, Momo Cortez. And thank you, Rev DeeAnn. Giving and receiving. It's that time. There's so much to be thankful for. And as you'll hear, there are many opportunities to give in this community. And so many ways that we receive. I know I receive so much. The baskets will be coming around shortly, and that'll give you an opportunity to share with our community your gifts. I'd like to invite Reverend DeeAnn up.
Feels like I was just up here. So if you were here last week, you've heard this news, but if you weren't, we had a very, very generous gift. A matching donation challenge was brought forth by Kevin and Lynn Sieber-Forsey. They have put up $20,000, which they are inviting the community to match. So in order for us to get their $20,000, guess what? You guys all have to come up. We're all going to come up together with another $20,000. I actually see us blowing past this with like amazing numbers, right? And it's all for the revitalization and it's for the upliftment of the community. And that's why we're doing this as a challenge, is because communities that are completely reliant upon one or two very big donors, guess what? They don't thrive. They don't thrive because the community itself needs to say yes, needs to be in the agreement of this is important. So I shared last week this idea that in the Jewish tradition, when you give something as a blessing, as a mitzvah, as we would say, the Hebrew letter chai, which some of you may have seen, sometimes Jewish people wear a chai on a chain on their neck. When that numerically gets translated into a number, which Jews are big on numerology, if you didn't know that, it's a huge thing. The chai becomes the number 18. And so when you give money in the Jewish tradition as a blessing, you give it in denominations of 18. You give 18, 36, 180, 118, right? 1,800. And that's signifying that this is in particular a blessing. So for our community, because we are so deeply anchored in Unity's teachings, we're going to lift up the 12 powers. So the idea is that everybody make a donation to the matching challenge that is in a denomination of 12 in some way, shape, or form, right? 12, 120, 212, 1,200, 12,000, right? We're holding the prosperity consciousness, right? And I do want to say this. I want everyone to really hear me in this, is that we have some members in our community who are blessed with an abundance of financial overflow. And so the number of what they may give may seem intimidating to some of us. And what I want to invite the community into is for you to sit in your own heart and decide, what is your number? Whatever that is, what is your number? And the consciousness behind your giving is actually more important than the actual number. Does everybody hear me? The consciousness behind what you're giving. So if you are giving $12, I want you to give that $12 with joy and gratitude and a sense of like, woohoo, I'm participating, right? In the mind of God, there is no big and small. There just is the giving and the receiving. So as we step into this challenge, I want to invite everybody. There is no reason why everybody in this community can't participate in some way, shape, or form to support the upliftment and the vitality that is Unity in Marin. because it's that broad support and giving that will enable us to actually thrive. Right? So that's our challenge. It's going to go through October 30th. As I said, I'm holding that we're going to blow past that 20 grand, and it's just going to skyrocket as this is our fall fundraiser. Is it fun? Is it fun? I think it's fun, right? All right. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to ask me. James is going to share how you can actually give.
Yes. At the end of service, we'll have an opportunity right in the lobby with Marilyn. She'll be out there with an iPad if you have a credit card that you want to use. There's also many other ways. If you're watching at home with that cup of coffee and your breakfast, there's a QR code on your screen. You can use that. You can go online. You can also text. I know many of you have your cell phones, so you can pull your cell phone out, text 84321. You can also call the office, and you can also use the snail mail, all right? And I'd like to invite Momo back up. You're up here a lot today, right? And we'll do our giving song while our ushers come forward.
Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing that we can lack. We give from love, love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing that we can lack. We give with love, love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing that we can lack. We give from love, love gives it back.
Momo. Much rather hear Momo than me singing that. All right. If you are new here, there's an opportunity at the end of service to exit through the side door here, connect with DeeAnn, and as you go out, there's also sign-ups for the book study, and don't forget to purchase your book in our newly renovated, transformed bookstore. And hospitality, it's getting better and better every week, and grateful for all of you that participate in bringing the goodies. The Think Again book study groups are filling up. I know Linda and I are hosting one virtually, so we have virtual as well as in-person groups. And the book is really making me think again. And the previous work that we did with the quantum living, now when I get triggered, it also offers me that opportunity to think again. And so many people I've encountered recently, I've used those words. You know, I'm really rethinking. I'm thinking about certain things again. When you've been around as long as I have, you know, there's many things that we do out of habit. And I'm really surprised, and I'm actually grateful that I'm open to rethinking. And so, great book. Thank you for choosing that. Let's see, Faith in Action Connection Circles. Another opportunity to speak with Reverend DeeAnn and really share your why. What's important to you? You know, why are you here at Unity in Marin? The listening circles went really well, and this is just an opportunity for you to share with her, again, what's important to you. Let her know. The 2 dates are September 25th and October 9th, after service at noon. I'm going to bring, and it's hybrid, and as well as in person, okay? I guess that's what it means. That's redundant, isn't it? In person and virtual. I'm going to invite Reverend DeeAnn back up.
So I know that a lot of people came to World Day of Prayer. It was really beautiful. It was just a powerful, powerful experience. I have been working on this prayer process, updating the Unity prayer process with Reverend Linda Martella-Whitsitt. She and I have been working on this for about 4 years now. We do have a book which we're almost done writing that will be out in June. Unity is publishing it. So this is sort of the next wave of how Unity is holding prayer. And so I have been invited along with Linda, the kids are getting ready. I have been invited along with Linda and Tracy to, through Silent Unity and the prayer ministry, to lead an online class that is being hosted by Unity Worldwide headquarters. So if anyone would like to join this particular class, you're free to do so. It's going to be on Tuesday, starting October 4th, our time zone. It's going to be 5 to 6:30. You can sign up. If you sign up through our website, you can sign up online through Unity World Headquarters, but you'll pay $250 or $225. If you sign up through our website, I get a special link, and it's $180. All right? So, and if anybody has questions about this, just ask me.
Thank you. And we also have the Unity in Marin virtual courtyard. So that's for our online community. Those of you that are here, you may go home and hop back on. Right? It'll be next Sunday. It's the first and third Sunday each month. And if you use your QR code, you can sign up for all the various classes and events that we have going on. I'd like to invite the Unity in Marin prayer chaplains to stand. If you have not had an opportunity to sit with one of our special people, please do so. They would love to hear your joys, your concerns, and really sit with you. And I hear the kids. I think we need to open the doors, right? Let's welcome the kids that were standing too close to the door.
When they do get in here, we are going to do a blessing for the kids. I think that they had a special project that they were working on today that they're going to share a little bit with Genevieve. They are coming. Oh my, I love it. Look at their projects here. Can they even see? Hey, Burke, come on up here. He's gonna go find Mama. Come on up here, you guys, so everybody can see you on the platform. They can't really see. Do you need a microphone, Melissa? Yeah. It's over there. Can we give them some love?
Okay, we just had a tea party in honor of Queen Elizabeth, and yes, and we learned a little bit about Queen Elizabeth. And would you like to share your fact?
Queen Elizabeth waved to people.
She liked to laugh.
She had a great sense of humor.
Queen Elizabeth liked corgi dogs and riding horses.
A Queen Elizabeth quote:
My whole life, whether short or long, shall be devoted to your service. Fonzie.
Longest range of 70 years.
See out of there? We learned some other facts too. And Burke.
Queen Elizabeth.
All right, so I'm going to invite the whole community to stand, and we're going to bless all of these children. We're going to bless the children that we are. We're going to bless the children of the planet, right? Because all those children could use a lot of love right now. And we're going to know this together. Extend your hand and your hearts as we say, "You are the perfect expression of divine light. We love you just the way you are." And so it is. Amen. And stay standing. We're going to go right into our prayer of protection.
All right. Let's say it together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God washes over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. All right. And let's, do we hold hands now? You know, this new peace song is kind of like, makes me want to dance. All right.
There be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God ever present, family all our way. Let us walk with each other in peace eternity. Let there be peace on earth. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Hospitality in the courtyard.
There's a new world coming, and it's just around the bend. There's a new world coming, this one's coming to an end. There's a new voice calling, you can hear it if you try, and it's growing stronger with each day that passes by. There's a brand new morning, rising sweet and clear and free. There's a new day dawning that belongs to you and me. Yes, a new world's calling, the one we've had visions of, coming in peace, coming in joy, coming in love, coming in love.
Heaven sends a song through its doors, just as if it seems to know I'm exclusively yours. Knowing this, I feel but one way. You will understand it too in these words that I say. I'll close my eyes to everyone but you, and when I do, I'll see you standing there. I'll lock my heart to any other caress. I'll never say yes to a new love affair. I'll close my eyes to everything that's gay. Oh, if you're not there to share